You are saying, yes?
There are situations where you can find someone understands a subject matter well, but because they do not have a certain, maybe financial muscle to get through to the seat that they deserve, they get more or less cut off in their journey. So I just feel that's why I've never voted for the 2 times, because when I turned 18, there was an election year. After I turned 18, I didn't vote. And this other time I didn't vote because it felt like even when we vote, there's usually that one person who ends up garnering more support or just ends up being the one who gets the seat.
Marcus, I hope you're picking these, because they form part of political reforms. Young people, wale ambao wako hapa even young, how many agree with what mami your name? Nancy is saying? Nani wana agree? Okay, let's I'll come back to you, bro. Bro, come. Kuja. Because you see, politics is in the hands of young people, right? And in a very, very big way. And I wish the young people who are here will understand that this politics is not something iko hapa na we uko hapa. What do you think the definition of politics is? How can you define politics?
Politics for me is a game of interest that serves the people who are playing, but not the people whom they are purporting to protect their rights. Yeah.
So they only serve their interests. Yes. All right, very interesting. So you're saying you agree and with what Nancy is saying. So to what extent? Did you vote? Were you of voting age by 2022? All right. How old are you, if you don't mind? 18 now. You're 18. So you're saying you agree with what she's saying. To what extent? Just explain to us.
My name is Rono. I just finished high school. So I agree with...
Were you in Alliance?
I was in Kapsabet High School.
Oh.
Kapsabet High School. So
what Alliance mko hapa? Okay, sawa.
We beat them still, so...
At a Kapsabet, because I saw national school.
I agree with her because in this political parties you are seeing, we were here yesterday with the political parties.
Yeah.
And
she's coming back.
Yeah, that's why I'm here still.
Yeah.
And we were trying to tell her that despite this political parties having party nominations, we are not seeing internal democracy in the parties. Yeah. Because despite the fact that we are still having these party nominations, we are seeing the elites, the big whips of these political parties hand-picking candidates. And in some regions in this country, it's not who you are, but which party you're vying under. So if we are seeing these political big whips hand-picking candidates instead of allowing for free, fair elections in party nominations, so there's no way we can get to elect the right people because, as she said, someone might be having the right qualifications to vie for a particular seat. But because he or she does not have the connections with the political elites who are in this party, he or she ends up not being selected in the party elections. And because the person is coming from a region where the party you're vying for matters the most, he won't be able to get the ticket. Yeah. And in most instances, especially in my constituency...
Which constituency?
Moiben constituency in Eldoret.
Who's the MP?
Phyllis Bartow.
Okay.
So in her case, she won the party nominations, but she was not given the ticket. Why? Because the people who are in this party wanted to hand-pick their own candidates. So she went... If it were not for the intervention of the people of the constituency to now come up and demand for the ticket, she would not have gotten the ticket. So these problems we are seeing in the political parties, they're even going against the Political Parties Act of 2011, which under Section 3, Paragraph 1 states that political parties should observe all principles of democracy, governance, and respect for human rights and fundamental freedom. So the moment you're seeing these political parties coming up, they're trying to hand-pick. As Senator Okiya Mtata was saying yesterday, if someone invests in a political party, he gives out, let's say, 3 million. He or she will try to ensure that he controls what is going on in that party. So as long as we are seeing this coming up in the political parties that we have, then we cannot ensure ourselves that we will get the right people vying for these positions, not unless they
chama ziko na wenyewe
independently.
Chama ziko na wenyewe.
Yes, chama ziko.
You've heard him quoting the act. Umeita act gani hiyo?
Political Parties Act.
Cap nini?
Cap 67.
All right. You've heard him quote. He's 18, right? So there are a number of things that young people raise that makes them, or rather made them, not to be able or basically to vote, right? And from what they are saying, all right, I'd like to move to, remind me your name.
Natembea John.
Natembea, do you think it is from your observation, from where you sit, and with what happened when on June 25th, do you think if the young people voted, yeah, what would have happened? What kind of electoral reforms would we have had in the country? Do you think young people have a say, number one?
I think the young people have a say.
Do they have the power?
No, they don't have the power.
Do young people have the power? Yes. I want us to nataka to agree. Do the young people have the power to change what narudi kwako. So you say the young people have the power. Just stand up. Tell us your name and why do you say the young people have the power?
Okay, good morning. My name is...
You can come hapa mbele wakuone. Okay. Yeah.
My name is Cecil Okoth. In 2022, first I was 19 years old.
Did you vote?
Yes, I voted.
Where? Where did you vote?
I voted in Dagoretti South constituency.
All right, okay. We nani? Endelea.
So the young people, we have the powers because we have the numbers, and
so we have the power because we have the numbers.
Yes, we have the numbers.
And
I think
continue.
The statistics are very clear, even from the KNBS statistics from 2019.
Yes.
We are actually the majority.
Yes.
So the only remaining thing is for us to rise to the occasion and take our place.
All right.
That
so
is the only thing remaining.
We have the power because we have the. Do you agree? You said we don't have the power. Do you agree that is power? Okay. The numbers.
Okay. What I meant by the power is that, yes, we shall fight for our rights as just the Gen Z's protest happened. But now, even if we are going to fight, even those reforms that we are fighting for, we are not the one who are going to do them. We are leaving them to the political elites to do those reforms for us. And
okay. Who is the political elite? Rono has used the word and you've used the word.
Yeah.
Who is a political elite person? Who are these people?
I think these are the people who have dominated the political family, yeah. And they have been in this, let me say, in this industry.
They've made politics an industry.
Yeah, it's an industry.
It is an industry.
Yeah, and it's making them very rich.
It's making them very rich.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because normally I hear people say if you want to get rich in Kenya, just get into politics. You will be rich. Sure. But I want us to unpack the whole idea that young people have power because of numbers. Yeah? What does that mean? Let's come back. First of all, Nancy, do you agree that young people have power because of their numbers? What do you think?
I think yes, but to some extent.
Okay, that extent, what is it?
The extent is, in numbers, it's easy for you to raise a voice, and it's easy for the voice to be heard. The thing is, when that voice is heard, then what change does that voice inspire and push to happen? So when it comes to actualizing, okay, we've said we don't want the finance bill fine. That was hard. But then what next?
Okay. So what next, Rono? What next? Kwa hizo numbers. Sindio? Tusha raise, tumesema hatutaki. So what next? What actually makes us actualize, as she says, actualize now our power in numbers?
I believe what is next, as the youth, we should stop agonizing and start organizing.
Hapo ndo mnapiganga makofi bwana. Wana mjui sehemu za kupiga makofi. We should stop agonizing and start organizing. Yes.
Because we have seen these people. They've also been telling us the same thing, but what they want is for us to join the political parties that are still there. We were here yesterday with UDM. I'm just making my reference within the discussions we had here yesterday. And they were trying to bring up some that they have tried to make their party to be more youth-centric.
Let me for those who are not here yesterday, we had a UDA party hour. We had chama ya serikali hapa, we put them to task. Ni time tu ili tushinda, but they were here and we discussed, yeah?
Now they are trying to make the parties to be youth-centric because they only see us as numbers, as voters.
Okay.
Because the power we have as the youth transcends to the ballot, to the public initiatives, to the referendums that we can have, because that's where numbers matter. But in other things outside the ballot, it's the political elites who currently have the power. So they are trying to make us to join their political parties, which have empty rhetoric promises which evaporate upon reproach. These promises they are trying to make to the youth, they cannot actualize them. We have pressing issues going on right now and they have not addressed them. The university funding model. The young minds are struggling to afford education, yet they say that our party is youth-centric. I've never had even a single member of parliament raise the issue of the university funding model in parliament. They are busy trying to see who is the majority, who is the minority. So instead of them coming up and speaking for the youth, they are bringing up their so-called youth reforms. Because if that's what they call youth reforms, then it's a sham. It's a slap to the face to any youth who is looking forward to the future. So when we talk about what's next for the youth,
yes,
we have to organize ourselves. We cannot put ourselves into the same forests that is being dominated by the same monkeys. Because if we do that, then we'll still see the same faces in parliament.
So we have, young people have to organize and put themselves in new forests. That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Have you grown the forests that you want to put yourself in? Yeah? But anyway, let me take it a step further and ask this. You know, we kind of agree, not all of us, we agree that there's power in numbers, right? Tunakubaliana mpaka hapo, si ndio? So, there's power in numbers. Rono says, and Natembea says, that, okay, you will elect, and then the people you elect will not, basically from what I hear, they will not deliver. How do we ensure, you know, it's part of the electoral reforms that will be discussed here. How do we ensure that the people that we elect, because if we have the numbers, we will elect the people we want. Kweli ama rongo? Kweli ama rongo? Aya. So the people we elect, the quality of the people we elect, what can we say about them? And those people, how do we hold them accountable? Kwamba, kama ulisema, ulisema utabadilisha the education system. All right? To suit everybody. If you said you'll turn around the economy and the young people voted for you, how do we hold these leaders accountable to an extent that they are delivering for us? I don't know if we take it, any one of you can take that. How do we ensure that these people are actually deliver for us?
So, I cannot say it's the only way, but one of the ways you can ensure that these people actually deliver the promises they give us is if we increase the checks and balances of democracy within the political system, especially in the political parties. Because
so how do you do that, and what are those checks and balances? And I want you, as you speak about to that, you've quoted the act very well. So there are acts, there are statutes, and then there's the constitution. So how do we talk about checks and balances in the framework of the constitution and the statutes that we have?
Now you see, we have the constitution, we have the laws, we have the acts, but there is also what we call statescraft. Okay. Despite the fact that we have the constitution and it states clearly what is supposed to be done, we have now the way people are running things. They have made it they have normalized, they have made it normal business. That's why we are calling it statescraft. That despite the fact that you have the constitution, Article 3 of the Political Parties Act has been broken, but no one has mentioned anything. Why? Because they are working within the statescraft. So if we increase the checks and balances, because as I was saying, the people who are vying for these political positions, yes, some of them do have the desire to bring about change. The will of change is within them. But the moment they get to these political parties, they now start to be manipulated, because these political parties revolve around ideologies. So the moment they see you trying to come up with a different ideology, even though it is for the good of the people, they will start to suspend you. We have seen suspensions in these political parties. You have seen rifts in these political parties. Why? Because the members in these political parties have differing ideologies. And most of the times, it's the people who have the ideologies that are for the good of the people who are being sidelined.
Okay.
And the moment they know something wrong about you, that is when they now start weaponizing it. Like the MP for Juja, he recently revealed the amount of money that was used in the AU elections.
Yeah.
And the moment he did that, because it was against the party that he was within, they weaponized the allegations they had against him. He was arrested. So what you're seeing in these political parties, they are controlling the people who are in these parties. They are weaponizing all your misdeeds. When you do something wrong, you'll be threatened. We'll leak this, we'll leak that.
They bring out the card and play
they
it.
bring out the iniquities that you've done. So the moment we see this checks and balances, the increase in democracy in the political parties, that is when the people we have elected under these parties will be able to bring about change without worrying whether the leader of the political party, the secretary general, will do this, will do that.
This was an informal session, but it's quite informative. Sindio? Tunakubali. So this is what I want us to do, because I can see the panel is there. I can see Marcus, the moderator, is already here. So this is what I want you guys to do. We're going to discuss about electoral reforms. So in 30 seconds, from I think Cecil, electoral reforms, so that young people are, because we are talking about it in the context of the young people. What does it mean to you? 30 seconds, so that we hand over the session.
I think electoral reforms in the context of young people, I think it starts with what needs to be done at the top, but then for the youth to take up the opportunity and rise to the occasion. For example, with the registration as voters, that is not something that you need to come and be told. The systems just need to be in place, and that's why we are also asking for a procedure such as the reconstitution of IEBC to be completed.
So he has talked about registration. Register. There's a drive for registration. Young people, have you registered as voters? Have you taken your IDs? Have you taken? Mbona mnaka hivi? You see, if you have the power, then you have to take. The power comes from the ID, and you know you have to register as a voter, right? We've said we have the numbers, but then the numbers are just that if you don't exercise your. Kwa hivyo amesema registration na IBC kwa reconstituted, ndio? Okay, let's move on. 30 seconds, haraka.
Now we'll talk about the registration, whatever at the low level.
Yeah.
But we are currently in the process of electing the committee in the IBC, right?
Yes.
Now in this process, even though we register, we do some reforms in the low level of the electoral process. If the IBC will not stop being independent only in the books, but in reality being independent from the three arms of government. Because we are seeing, even though there is the principle of separation of powers, we are seeing hands being slipped into IBC to get people there in the committee.
Unasema wameshikwa nini?
Yeah, they have been grabbed by the balls.
Okay.
So the moment they become free, it has to be said. Someone has to say it.
Yes.
So the moment they become independent, and we see the IBC as a body, not as a statute, being
not just in the books,
not holding on to the executive.
Yeah.
That is when we can now be sure that we want to
electoral reforms.
All right.
Okay. Asante sana, makofi kwa Rono. Rono is saying we have IBC has to be independent, real independence. Okay. How many of you agree? Yeah. So Nancy. Electoral reforms, what does it mean to you in the context of young people and moving forward? We have elections up mbele. Yes?
My take is that the youth should stop being used as a PR stunt.
Are you being used? Vijana mnatumiwa? Aje. We'll unpack that baadaye.
So if we have power in numbers, then let our voice actually be heard and not just be tusembe tunapiga makelele, because we are not.
Okay. All right. Asante sana, pigia Nancy makofi. As I said, our voice has to be heard. We have to, when we raise our voice, it must be heard. It's not just noise. Sindio? Asante. And Natembea, finally.
I think mine is just to iterate on my brother what he has said, is to make the IEBC independent and to bring back the trust.